cause girls is players too. Uh, yeah, cause girls is players too. Keep playing, baby.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the next episode of Girls Are Players Too. I am the mama.
And I'm her lovely daughter.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
Good morning, Mom.
How was your weekend?
The weekend, it was hot, like scorching hot. So got some time outside, but when I was able to chill, I took full advantage of it. I cooked, and it was some lovely games happening over the weekend too. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, it was rainy here, so I certainly took advantage of watching a lot of TV. So when it's rainy outside and you can't go outside to play, you got to find something else to do. And there was no shortage of things to do watching TV. So
Mhm.
let's get into our weekend recap.
Yay, 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 yay. Well, y'all, we crowned a champion this weekend. And who better than the team we picked? Woo, 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 woo.
Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning the 2025 NBA championship. And I mean, it's been a long season. They said October to June is 9 months.
Yeah, that's like somebody being in school. So I feel it. I
Or
understand.
pregnant. Or
or,
pregnant.
or pregnant. That's true. Yeah. So we understand what it feels like to go through 9 months
and
of
and
just,
and in a pregnancy there are like trimesters, right? A
yeah,
lot happens. So the
yeah.
first third of the season, will include the Emirates Cup that they played, and they got beat by the
Not
Bucks.
a bucks.
The
Yeah.
second half, the second trimester was up till All Star,
Monster. Hmm.
and they were in single digit losses. And then you get to the end of the season, best record 68-14 was their record, and you get to the playoffs. And one of the things that we talked about with the playoffs were what has been that it's not even so much that the best team wins, it's the team that's clicking at the right time, they're playing well together, and they're healthy.
Yeah, yeah, that's crucial because we know in like trimester one, maybe part of trimester two, Chet was out for quite a while. He missed about 30 games. And so to see them get to this point and everyone was healthy, that's what you hope for. That after All-Star break, now you're just getting, fine tuning, getting things ready for the playoffs, and everybody was ready. So I mean, it's a testament to their medical staff and how they all took care of their bodies. But that's a good point to say, because like for the Bucks, people were injured.
Well, Dame Lillard had he missed some games. He had a calf strain, and
Hmm.
then he missed some games with that deep vein thrombosis, which is more like I mean, Wemby missed the rest of the season because he had it in his shoulder, and you're talking, people can die from
Yeah,
something like
it's
that,
blood
right?
clots. Hmm.
Correct. So we certainly understand that, and then he came back and tore his Achilles. So it's one of those like, okay, now then you get to the Boston Knicks series, and Jason Tatum goes down with an Achilles, and it's like, okay. And then you get to the finals, and I mean, we do have to give a shout out to Indiana. I
Yeah,
mean,
we do.
as
We
much
definitely
as
do.
we maybe weren't cheering for them in terms of which team we wanted to win, but it was a really good series. It
Yeah,
truly was.
yeah. And I will say, I'm gonna stop sharing this. I would say they overachieved. Like nobody expected them to be at this point. I heard one of the commentators saying they were under 500 at a point in the season. Well, no team has gone to win the finals after being under 500 at a point in the season. So, I mean, they definitely, you talk about like storyline, they definitely gave you a storyline every series that they were in. And so shout out to them. Shout out to them because they definitely did their thing to get to game seven of the finals. And talking about injuries, I feel so bad for Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah,
I
but
feel.
I
Go
think
ahead.
you might be like a fortune teller or something, or something, because in our last episode you actually said that you felt like they should shut him down because of the calf strain, because typically that injury is kind of like a nagging injury. You can't really, there's no surgery or anything you can perform. You just need rest, and some treatment to try to heal.
Yeah.
But people are out for multiple weeks with something like that.
Yeah, if I had the soundbite, I would have played it in here where I would have said, I don't think he should go. And me, how you are with superstitions. I'm like, dang, I don't want to put that into the earth. Like, I don't want to do that. But I saw something too, like just looking over the past few games, where it said Tyrese Halliburton is playing in Game 6, knowing the risk of an Achilles injury happening. And I'm sure once he got through Game 6, he didn't have to play much in the fourth quarter. It was like, okay, all right, we're gonna do our treatment and all this stuff to get ready for Game 7. And I mean, you watching the game, you physically saw this man's Achilles pop. And y'all, I'm sorry. When I saw it happen, I called my mom immediately. Like
And you said
immediately.
you called it. I mean, you called it, and we had a couple of people who actually watched our episode from Thursday call me also, like, man, Brittany called it, and I was like, you listen to our podcast, yeah. And so it just is so unfortunate because when you win a championship, you want to know that you won when everybody's best were available.
Yeah.
And I know for me personally, that's kind of why, when people knock the Bucks or knock some teams that haven't won, they weren't healthy in all facets. Their best weren't available.
Yeah.
And for Indiana to get through to the finals, to get to that point, and then their top player is injured, and then sustains the worst injury, because he conceivably commits the
Season.
whole season next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I mentioned it in the last episode, it's like, is it worth right now? I mean, like I said, they overachieved. So it's not you can't take anything away from the Pacers what they did this year. But it's like one game or your career, because now you not only did they lose, and I'm not trying to add to the wound, but it's like not only did they lose in the finals, but now Halliburton is out for the next year most likely. So now you have to figure out what that looks like, and it's like y'all could have just sat him. He has done heroic things throughout this playoff, so it's not, we're not taking anything from him, but now it's just, now you have to figure out what this looks like without him, because he will miss. I mean, there maybe by All-Star break, but then it's like you don't know how they'll
He
even
won't be
do.
ready for All-Star break. I mean,
So
if he has surgery, it's July basically. And then, I mean, their mini camp or their training camp starts in September.
mhm.
So,
Mhm.
he certainly ain't, ready for that. But Dame Lillard, he went down early part of May. Jason Tatum went down mid May, and now you got Halliburton that goes down mid to late June. So I mean, I just it's I don't want to sound somber, because there was a winner that was crowned,
Yeah.
and there's so many storylines with OKC. I mean, so them winning championship in the OKC era. So now they got a for real banner that they can hang and not hang on the coattails of Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah.
Shea Gilgis Alexander, he didn't have the most efficient game, but he played like an MVP. I mean, he was so cool and so smooth with
Yeah.
just how, I mean, because they were down at one point. There was adversity that they were facing during that game. And especially when Halliburton went down, the Pacers were playing like inspired basketball.
Absolutely.
Jalen
Absolutely.
Jalen Williams didn't have the best first half, so he needed people to step up, and the second half was just like, and I guess for Indiana, they got to see Halliburton in the
Yeah.
locker room,
The
and it's like,
realization. Yeah.
right, OKC got to realize, dude, we're at home, like this is it. We just have to go. So it was a great series. Overall, I think as a fan, we were certainly given an opportunity to see some really good basketball. But the NBA is done. We're done
Yeah.
this season. It's over.
It is done. So before we move into any other topics, I want to throw us back because this was game 7. The last time there was a game 7, and hear me y'all, this was the last time there was a game 7 with LeBron and Steph. 2016. That was when the Cavaliers won their first championship. The Golden State Warriors were 73-9. 2016. This was almost a decade ago that a last game 7 happened in the finals. So I want to just kind of show y'all what happened in 2016. Kobe retired.
Ooh.
Jamal Crawford was the sixth man. Now he was a walking bucket,
Oh, he
y'all.
was a bucket for sure.
Karl Anthony Towns was still with the Timberwolves, and this was his rookie year.
Wow.
Kawhi Leonard was still with the Spurs, Defensive Player of the Year, and y'all know why
Yes.
they call him the Claw, y'all.
Yes. Yes.
Look at these teams here. So Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan were still with the Raptors. I think Kyle Lowry was with Philly. Where I don't know
He's
where
with
Kyle
Philly
Lowry is.
right now.
He's
Yep,
with
he's
Philly,
still with Philly.
and DeMar DeRozan is with the Kings. So many things have changed. But
Jimmy Butler is
Jimmy
he done
Butler,
moved
but
a few
you see
times.
that picture right there, that second picture, KD, which we will get to, and Russell Westbrook were still with the Thunder. They were still with them. And James Harden was with the Rockets. So the Thunder and the Rockets, y'all, we're giving a preview of what we're getting into. And then Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were still teammates with the Clippers. LaMarcus Aldridge he's not even in the league anymore. He
He's
was with
not
the
in the
Spurs.
league. Yeah.
Dirk was still playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, Al Horford was with the Hawks. That was his team for the longest, and he's now he's with the Celtics.
Won a championship with the
He won
Celtics
yes,
last
he
year.
did. Derrick Rose with the Bulls.
He's out.
He's retired. Yeah, and then Dwight Howard, who we just talked about.
Yeah, future. He's about to get into the Hall of Fame and now playing in the Big Three League.
So I just wanted to throw us back about 9 years, because 2016 was when the last game 7 happened, and I wanted to show y'all what 2016 looked like.
Yeah.
Y'all, we still had Kobe,
Yeah.
and just made his soul rest in peace. But a lot has changed in almost a
It
decade of
has.
basketball.
It has. And it's funny that you took us back to 2016, but 2018 was the last time there were back-to-back champions. So since 2018, which the Golden State Warriors won in 17 and 18 with Kevin Durant, his name is trending now, we will get to that. They basically, so since the 2018, every year since, it's been a new champion. 2019 the Raptors, 2020 the Lakers in the bubble, which some people say it wasn't no real championship, but to me that was the hardest championship because you had no fans. Like how
Nobody.
every team is playing for the same. I mean, like the cheering is minimal. Shout out to Alex Caruso. He was with the Lakers at that time
Yeah.
and won. 2021 the Bucks. 2022 Golden State. 2023 the Nuggets,
Denver,
Denver
yep.
Nuggets. 2024 last year the Celtics, and now OKC. So again, it's been a great year. Yeah, we gotta give it up.
We
Woo!
got through
But
another year of the NBA.
yes.
Mm,
But
mm.
another championship where happened, and we don't talk about baseball enough, but LSU won the men's college World Series
We're gonna give it up
on
for that.
woo,
For that.
woo, 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 on Sunday, and they beat Coastal Carolina. Now, this is the LSU Tigers. It's their second championship in 3 years. Like they won in 2023, and then they just won this year. And they defeated Coastal Carolina, who actually won in 2016. But there's some narrative to this game, too.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you get to the narrative. I'm just going to say, congrats to LSU. When you talk about LSU fans, our family is purple and gold. They bleed it. It's like purple and gold oozes. So to see them get a championship, it's amazing. Like that's great. And then to have two of them like in recent years, that's
Well,
just an amazing
they've
feat.
been very relevant in baseball.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is their eighth national championship. And the year that they won a couple years ago, they also won in gymnastics.
yeah.
They
Hmm.
won in some other sports. So like 2023 was a banner year for LSU as far as championships go. But they defeated Coastal Carolina 5-3. And in the first inning of the second game, because it's a best of three series, LSU won on Saturday. Um, Coastal Carolina, Coastal Carolina, of course, ready to play on Sunday, and their games are in Omaha, so it's a neutral ground, right? And Coastal Carolina's manager, their coach, got ejected in the first inning.
No, I'm gonna laugh at that.
I mean, well, it's crazy because it's like how like and I mean, I'm not ever saying that when coaches get upset about calls that are made that they shouldn't contest it or get upset, but more people feel that the refs, the umpires jumped the gun. Like there's no way you throw a coach out cuz he's cussing you out or complain, like for real. Like he didn't swing on you. He didn't talk about your mama. Like it just so I felt bad because, and in addition to his ejection, the rule is if you're ejected, you miss 2 games. So even if Coastal Carolina would have won on Sunday, they would have played today. He couldn't coach today either.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
It
like now that sucks. That's a
that
horrible
that is
way.
very unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason I laughed is because it was the first inning. Like, were they just not performing? Like, what was happening in the first inning that got this man just on 10? Like, sometimes managers and coaches and all of that, it's like the fourth inning, because they seeing things or the umpires or the refs are just making terrible, signs and outs and all of that. But the first inning, it's like, dang, like you think about any sport where your coach gets ejected in the first quarter or first half of anything, and it's like now you got to scramble and figure out what it looks like or what the rest of the game will look like with this figure not there.
Well, or give him a warning. Like tell him,
Yeah,
if one more outburst and you're out, like tell
yeah.
him so that he has a temperature of how the refs what their disposition is.
Hmm.
But These
Mm-hmm.
and the first base coach got kicked out too. So it wasn't just him. I mean, it was and so
Get
again,
him out.
we
Get
certainly
him
want
out.
to give kudos to LSU for winning
Give it up
because
for them.
it's
Congrats to y'all.
again another long season. So
Yeah.
congratulations to the LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Okay. So here on Girls Are Players Too, we come with the latest, the greatest, just news of everything. And what we are coming with today, because mind you, Wednesday is the NBA draft. Yes, that happens
Ooh.
in 2 days.
Wow.
This happened over the weekend.
No way.
Blockbuster!
Okay, well, you say the word blockbuster because last week we talked about a trade being the media claimed it as a blockbuster, and we both were like, "Is that a
Nah,
blockbuster?" Desmond
no.
Bain to the Magic for Cole Anthony and
Yeah,
Contavious.
yeah.
This is a blockbuster.
This is
Now,
Blockbuster for a few reasons. So I'm gonna let you give your take on this.
well, I mean, Kevin Durant is 36 years old. He'll turn 37 in September. But he still is one of the best players in the NBA right now. Now, a lot of people question the ethics of his championships and how he has maintained his status of being a superstar because he don't mind leaving teams, moving to what and I don't know if he says he's chasing championships because when he went to Brooklyn, were they ever a contender? Maybe because they had Kyrie and James Harden at the time, but the Rockets gave up. I mean, they basically gave up the arena. Also, like
Yes.
I mean,
When they say, everything and the kitchen sink, this is that. They gave their whole lifeline away. So, yeah. You know, the thing about when I mentioned that the NBA draft is Wednesday, okay, you see that the Rockets they gave up their number 10 pick, their first round pick. So Jalen Green, which was the number 2, he was number 2 in his draft class. Dylan Brooks, which we know is just, as a narrative, he's the villain of on the team that he's on. And come Wednesday, they also get the 10th pick. Now, we know with trades, things happen. Teams, swap trades and picks and all of that. But this trade happened, and then Wednesday comes. So it's like they are getting new. This is the league right now is a new, young generation. So they gave, and then 5 second-round picks. That could be 2 in this coming draft. That can
okay,
be
so I broke down this because I had to look this up because I'm
okay.
like 5 second
5.
round picks. Like, how many are right now? So you mentioned that they get the number 10 pick in the first round this year. They also, so that first one of the second round is this year, where they get the 59th pick. Okay,
Okay.
so they get two players this year from this draft. Okay,
Hmm.
and then in 2026 they get 2 picks in the second round. 2030 they get a pick, and then 2032 they get a pick.
So over the
Brittany.
next 7 years.
Right, but it's like a lot of these trades when they say, "Oh, they get this team's first round pick in 2029." It's like who are we even talking about in 2029? Like it's like how relevant is that? But
Yeah.
somebody got to manage all of that. Somebody
Yeah.
has to remember back in 2016, the Bucks gave up their second round pick of 2024. It's like somebody has to remember and manage all of these pick swaps because that's
Yes.
basically what happened.
Yes.
Now, the Pacers actually had a trade during the playoffs. They traded a pick with the Pelicans. And so now that Tyrese Halliburton is potentially going to miss, they actually acquired a pick that they didn't necessarily weren't thinking that they were going to have. So, you got to give their management, their organization some credit, because who knew what
Yeah.
was going to happen? So they actually might be able to retool at the point guard position because of the fact that Halliburton is out. But this was a blockbuster.
This is a blockbuster because, like I said, the way the NBA is, it is a young man's game now. KD will be 37. He'll be 37. And KD wakes up happy, go to sleep mad. So the man probably was moody and just was like, "Yeah, I'm done here." I don't know, but it for the Suns to have Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, alongside Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal is hit or miss, hot or cold, whatever. That yeah, but it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting because, like you said, KD still got some stuff in his bag. To be around the twin Thompson brother and Segun.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Amen. And Segun, they could definitely
I mean,
stir
I
up some
think
stuff.
the Rockets roster can sustain the loss that they have because they still had a pretty decent bench.
Mhm.
Torrey Eason was still on the bench.
Mhm.
Fred
Mhm.
Van Vliet was a starting point guard.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
he's a willing passer.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
to know that KD gets to play with a point guard who's not afraid to pass but can get a bucket as well. The Rockets still have a chance to do some damage next year, but as far as a contender, I don't know that I would put them in that limelight for next year. But who knew the Pacers was gonna make it to the NBA Finals? I mean, who knew? That's the
You don't.
parity right now with the NBA. But it's interesting because Giannis commented on this trade like, "Oh wow, like this is." I mean, so and that was one of the narratives heading into the draft. But when we talk about the draft, um, like I said, I'm confused as to whose pick is what and whatever. The only pick I know is happening is Dallas got the number one pick this year after the fallout that they sustained with trading Luca
Mhm.
and getting Anthony Davis and whatever. They actually managed to get the number one draft pick, and Cooper Flag out of Duke is projected to be the number one pick.
All right. All right, Cooper, Cooper, Cooper. Now, speaking of Duke, because we've kind of gone down memory lane and what have you a little bit earlier in the episode. With That's projected that Cooper Flag from Duke is going number one. We did a little history. Well, actually, I'll give you this credit on the history of teams that have sent or have had the most number one picks in the NBA draft.
Now before you reveal this, who did you think it was?
A blue team. So
Like,
that could be Duke, Kentucky, or North Carolina.
I did not think. I mean, my first thought was Kentucky because you hear Kentucky. Carl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Shea Gilgis
Shay. Mm-hmm.
Alexander, De'Aaron Fox. You hear all these players from Kentucky, and with John Calipari coaching with what's that boy name that's now out east with Rick Pitino
Oh
coaching
yeah, yeah.
Kentucky. All these players that play for Kentucky, that was who I thought, but it's not Kentucky.
It's not. No, and you know they fall second on that list. So who comes number one or first
With the number
is
one draft pick.
with the number one draft picks is Duke.
Woo!
Duke Blue Devils. Yeah, we're gonna give it up for them on that. And I'm going to give you the list of who, and I'm going to include Cooper Flag because he is going number one. That is most probably a for sure thing. So Duke produced Art Heyman in 1963, Elton Brand in 1999,
Number one.
Number one, Kyrie Irving in
Number
2011,
one.
Zion Williamson in 2019,
Number one.
Paolo Banchero 2022. So that's five.
Paolo.
And number six will be Cooper Flag in the 2025 NBA draft. So they have the most players that have gone number one, and it's come from Duke. It's come from Duke. Now, number two is Kentucky.
Okay, okay, okay.
Number two is Kentucky. Now they have three. Now you've named two of the three. So the first one that came first from Kentucky is John Wall in 2010.
Wow, remember John Wall? Yep.
Yeah, he was, do the John Wall, whatever that. Yep. Anthony Davis was in 2012 and Carl Anthony Towns was 2015. So those are the top two schools with the most number one draft picks. And then once you get down, you got many schools with two that came on. Then the list for one is forever. But yeah, those are the top two schools that came out with
Well,
the
and like I
most.
said, I mean, there's so many players from Kentucky. I think Devin Booker is from
He's
Kentucky.
from
So,
Kentucky, yes.
right. So, and I think that's what threw me off is we're talking number one
Number
draft picks,
ones.
but Duke is so interesting because you don't think that of them. Now that you say it, it's like, okay, well, yeah, but they were more of a finesse,
Yeah,
program with your
yeah.
Grant
Coach
Hills
K.
and your Christian
Hmm.
Leitners and your Jason Tatums and and it's like Cherokee Parks, it's like, oh my God, Bobby Hurley,
Yeah.
but to be the number one pick in an NBA draft is crazy. But shout out to Kyrie, he's still playing.
He
Paulo
is.
Banchero is been killing it. Zion, we gotta get his whole
Gotta
weight
get over this
thing,
hump.
and he
Yeah.
gotta clean up his image, that whatever. But I love the draft. I do. This year, they say this year's draft is kind of down, but I felt like last year was down. I'm excited for this year's draft actually because I watched a lot of college basketball
Hmm.
this year, and Duke has like four players that entered the draft, so
Amazing.
they all could be in the top. On the
Yeah.
first day. That's the first round. First day, Wednesday, June 25th, first round. So
Yeah. So, today we sprinkled in a little bit of the World Series, but today was NBA heavy. A lot of it because the season is over. Like
yeah,
we we have the draft and summer league, but the season doesn't come back around until October. So,
right.
we this is where now you'll see our uniqueness to the sporting world
That's
because
right. That's
our
right.
sport is over. But
Well,
now we
that
gonna be
sport,
bringing,
because the W
yeah,
is still in full
the W
swing,
is still,
and
yes.
yes, and it's a lot of happening. They're about to get to All Star break.
Yep.
The Liberty, who was undefeated last week, have three losses now. The Lynx are still balling,
They
still doing
kicking.
well. The
Yeah.
Aces, who have won, they won back to back championships a couple years ago. They won yesterday. They beat the Fever. Great game, another great game. So start if you're a basketball fan, move to the W. Start
Yes.
watching the W because it's a lot happening. Lots of good teams playing, good players. And like I said, once things kind of shake out, their Commissioner Cup is July 1st, and then All Star break will happen. That's when we start to see like what teams are gonna make the
Yep.
playoffs, and
Yep.
I'm hopeful that the Dallas Wings can get it together because
No, I know, cause it's been quiet for them. Cause Paige Beckers and Enrique Ogumbawale is on the team, and it's a lot of promising things on that team. So if they can just get over that hump, I
I
think
know.
that they'll to get them in the mix. That'll be great to see as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking with you. I do have to question what's gonna happen this week on Thursday with our episode, but I'm gonna put the people on pause to see if they tune in because I'm not sure what Thursday is gonna look like for Girls Are Players too. So I'll talk to you about that later.
Excited. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. You know, you can always watch us on Facebook or you can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe. Girls Are Players 2 is the channel. And we're just here to bring you all the great stuff. And it's a good chance for me and my mama to shoot the boop. So, happy day after Sunday. Hope y'all have a great week. We'll see y'all on Thursday. I'm the daughter.
I'm the mama. Take care.
Time is money, so I spend it on the